hello, here we are again. This is my third. This time, a very special one, so I was very nervous already. Since yesterday, I was thinking about how to do the introduction, and I was thinking about what was my experience with Chris. And this was, my title is therefore Waiting. Because waiting is something you learn when you are a spectator in triathlon, right? And we had a few, Arne, to collect my thoughts and give it a little bit of a structure, and also give Chris the opportunity to jump into these things, into my story a little bit, and to add his view. I start with this turtle because I remember very well when I was filming this, and you know very well I'm a very impatient and restless person, so I had to be very calm and wait until one blink, I could observe one blink of a turtle. It took me seconds, and there you see the difference between life rhythms. And I was thinking about this waiting, and waiting is always about life rhythms. Here you see. She's so slowly, I was almost falling into the water with the camera because she didn't want to move her eyes. So this is something what I was considering, that rhythm of lives. Waiting is about rhythm. And if we wait, it's always about the other. If you want to not become impatient and restless, you have to envision the other who has a completely different rhythm, and to try to understand and not to get restless and not to get impatient and to stay calm. And this is one of my probably weaknesses, and I think Chris can follow me on this one, what it means to wait. And I was also considering what it means to talk in a live stream like this, because the last times I was always told that I'm too fast. And I always am scared that I bore other people because I'm telling stories. So to listen and to let others speak out is also can be a very difficult thing, because what we experience while we are talking so much online nowadays, that it's hard not to interrupt. And this ability to envision the other and not to cut people off when they are talking, and to try to really listen, is something about waiting too. And it becomes really an art to wait. And I experience this nowadays, everything is about waiting. The lockdown is a permanent waiting situation where we don't know what is going to happen. So I try to find a subject that is also picking up the current situation. So I think waiting is a very convenient thing. And one very important, what came into my mind was Chris, when he was not racing in Kona, he said, and was present as a spectator, he said, wow, this triathlon is a bloody fucking boring sport. And I think this is how it happened, and I think this is how the idea was born, to create his own format, to give people some entertainment and not let them wait along the race course for I don't know how many hours, and we have a good experience in waiting. So, and waiting is also something I wanted then to talk with Chris about what it means, because it has also something, if you don't consider the other when waiting, it has also something to do with being self-centered. It is a thin line between being self-centered, focused, and selfish. We have been talking about these things also when we were driving in the car for hours through Europe. Or I also want to mention this feeling of waiting often gives you this feeling of feeling empty. Emptiness produces restlessness, And I also remember Chris when I paid a visit to him in Australia 2011 when he was working in the garden that he said, I have to do something. I always feel so restless and empty if I don't do anything. So moving, permanently moving. And I think this is also what connects our souls, let's say, during all these years. And I don't know, I'm curious to hear then whether this changed or whether it's still like this in your life. So now first, it's yours. It's all yours after all these years. What comes into your mind when you talk with me like this after? You are mute, Schatzilein. You are still mute.
I'm not mute.
Yes, no now you are here.
Okay, I wasn't muted. I think it's the delay.
It's the delay,
no,
yeah.
I was saying, yeah, you're still as crazy as ever. I missed that. The craziness of it. We connected on crazy. I miss that. It's good to see you, Doc. It's good to see you. You smile.
It's good to see you. You see, I took the glasses from the years before. I broke them, and Sylvia, she's sitting behind me. She repaired the glasses for today. Because usually lovely. I'm like this now with blue.
I like the green. It matches the scarf.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Hey. I mean, it's 4 years now. Hamilton was the last time we met. A lot of things happened. Is the past still in your present, or is the past for you?
It's like another life ago being an athlete. I feel it's been a long time. My children are adults. Talia finishes school. Time goes by. I lost my father a couple of weeks ago. So talking about waiting, that was that was hard because Dad had been sick for a long time. So waiting for that, we knew the inevitable was coming, but waiting for that was very, very difficult. And so it taught me, I guess, living in Thailand and being around the Buddhists, living in a Buddhist community where they're very patient people and they're very present people. I took a lot having had to come home because of this crazy virus that we're all suffering the indignity of around the world, and now being locked in Australia for the first time in 25 years. It's been tough, but I think, I realize how a lot more patient I am than what I was as an athlete. I actually wish I had the patience of age at a younger age. I was so impatient. So that's probably what made me a good athlete, but I wish I would have appreciated the journey more. I feel like it was like a blink of an eye and it was done, and I never really took time to smell the roses and enjoy the journey. You're just always focused on the next thing. Instead of being present, you're always looking ahead, and it makes time go too fast.
But you know that you always said back then already it's about the journey. You always said like this, but obviously looking back, you told it to yourself all the time and to others, but it wasn't really the case.
Yeah, I think age, as you age and you watch the people around you age, and as they always say, you can't put an old head on young shoulders, right? I think what you perceived as being patient and enjoying a journey is seen through the eyes of a young person. But I think you learn patience as you age. You learn to appreciate things because your reflection is a lot deeper. You have a lot more wisdom. So what I thought was enjoying the journey and enjoying things when I was in my early 30s or late 20s is a lot different looking now in my late 40s.
But these big wins you had, is this still present for you? Is it playing a role, or is it past, like it's a past, it was nice, but now it's about something completely different?
The big wins are definitely something I was proud of, and at that time in my life, they consumed everything in my life. And I guess if you miss what sometimes I miss about that period, because I can never do it again, because you age out of it, it's not possible anymore, is I miss wanting something that much, like I miss giving everything to something that much. I do that in other facets of my life, but it was almost obsessive to some degree back then. I don't think I'm as obsessive anymore. I have time for others. I realized I was a very selfish, obsessed person.
Yes,
yeah, I
indeed.
was. Yeah, and athletes are. You really are. And people like yourself and my wife and so many people. And not only, I guess you enabled it because you realized that was what I needed to be good at what I was doing, and you supported that journey. But you sort of look back now, and I guess when I look at a lot of athletes now, I look at them through different eyes. I appreciate what they do, but I feel like saying it's so irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
Really,
I mean, this,
it really is.
yes, it's such a small little world. I mean, especially now, you know. I was talking to Lothar as well. He said, you know, they all have to change their mindset. It will not continue as it was. We have to change. Yeah. I mean, it's really a time, maybe we are all, let's say, upset about how we are, about the constraints we have. On the other side, I mean, it's also important to consider that it makes us reflect things in a different way. Not that I'm positive that we are not traveling like before. I mean, I think for you, I mean, I was thinking of you a lot, that you are stuck in Australia. And I thought about when you left and your dear father, whom I really loved, you know, really. Yeah. Besides that I love you too. And that I'm very sad that we didn't have any contact for so long. And I hope it changes, by the way. So that when you left Australia, when you were 22, I think, right? Yes. And your father said, this is not a job, get a proper job, you know, not like this. And you just left and you were, and still for this you are very special. Look at these other boys or girls. Comfort zone, even though they do this sport. To leave the comfort zone was something different, still. You know, if you are surrounded by whatsoever support and you are not traveling alone anymore, you are relying on others always, you're not relying on yourself only. And what you did, this is, I think, the only one who did it different. Do you see this like this still?
Yeah, well, I think as an Australian and doing the sport I chose, I had to, you know, unlike Europeans, that the sport is done in their continent, but so you have the luxury of being able to participate in the sport you love and live at home. I think there's a big advantage, which I didn't appreciate until now, of being an Australian and realizing I had to uproot my life and live elsewhere as an expat. So I've always literally lived an expat life, and an expat life is beautiful. And I think because you learn to see different cultures and different people through different eyes, where, you know, Germans see Germans through German eyes, right? I see Germans through Australian eyes, and it's a very different way of living. And I can really appreciate that now. I really love what I did. I'm so proud of myself that I was the adventurer in my family. And I think every family or since human beings began, there was always the adventurer, the curious one that wanted to know what was out there. There had to be more than what was around them. And I think I was just that person.
And this is what makes you and Lothar, because I had quite some contact with him, so different, because it was not only about racing, it was also about the other culture, about traveling, about getting to know the other and to see differences. And I remember you saying, these boys, they are not used racing anymore. Every race is a big deal, you know, instead of just, you have to make your living from racing. You had to live by racing, and you had to make some money like this. And this is a huge, huge difference, that there is a generation of athletes now, and I don't know, you see, whether it's not only triathlon probably, I don't know how you see other sports, how this development is, and what does this situation now, where we have all these online competitions, and what does it mean for the future of sport as such? What is it if it comes to sponsors and things like this? Do you have already an impact on like, say, sponsorship, especially in a niche sport still like triathlon?
Yeah, I realize I'm old because I struggle with trying to understand how the modern day way of doing things with all the social media. We sort of, I was at the end of my career as it came out, and we were exploring that social media platforms, you and I, when they just started, Facebook, and you know, we did 4 or 5 years, and then I retired. So
Chris,
now
for you.
I still live on my cut chilies and olive oil, Suzanne. Still. Downstairs I have it exactly like your house.
Bravo!
Salt, olive oil. It's fantastic.
These habits didn't change, huh? Some things never change.
Exactly. You stick with the good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do struggle to understand how, nowadays when I look at the sport, everything is so through a filter. Everyone lives through their Instagram or creating videos of themselves, and everyone's so narcissistic to some degree. Exactly. In my day racing, others wrote about you. You tried to get your message across and tried to have them right, but it was another person's opinion of you that shaped other people's opinions.
Exactly.
Nowadays, everyone tells their own story through their social media channels, and it's so filtered and fake. And
exactly.
I don't understand.
What? It's bloody fucking boring.
It is. I sit there and I want to find a place in the world which is like it used to be, and I just want to move there, and they can have it. I don't.
It's unbelievable.
It's not for me.
And this doesn't apply only to the sport or to triathlon, to these people we know, but it's a general phenomenon. This blah blah makes you insane.
Yeah. There's no substance in anything. Everything's fake and filtered.
Yeah.
Everyone's narcissistic. Everyone's unhappy. That's what's the irony of it all. They live their life through a filter and present wonderful, but they're unhappy. Yeah. And it's because they're missing out. They're missing out on what it's all about.
The essence of life.
Journey. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and therefore, you can't run the essence of life through a filter on an Instagram.
Yeah, and this is, I think, this is what makes it makes me somehow unhappy, because people don't, it's not a discourse, it's not an interaction anymore. Yeah. On these social media, maximum is like, or this, and if a subject is a little bit controversial, nobody dares, or you have a shitstorm. But so what you were saying, we're always confronting ourselves, and we hit the wall, and we hit our heads, and we experienced pain. And not pain only body-wise, but also as a whole body feeling. You were talking about these things a lot of time, and what does it mean now when we have, what is it really? This is interesting really, because you are in touch with the athletes when they do these online competitions. What is the difference in their approach to these kind of competitions?
I always remember, because I have this conversation a lot, that the indoor training, all these platforms are encouraging people to train and be indoors more. Like the indoor machines when I was young were done in order to improve the outdoor training. Yeah. You did stuff indoors in order for you to get stronger outdoors. Now people don't go outdoors. They're racing. I don't know where the fork in the road was, where it pivoted, but I'm so far down this way. The world has gone that way. I'm so connected from understanding how the world works. And to be honest, I don't really ever want to come back, reverse, and go that way. It's not for me.
It's not for us.
I don't. Life's too short.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not for me.
I agree. Therefore,
I do struggle with it.
Me too, a lot, every day, every day. And my mood is like this, fluctuating all the time. One day it's better, the other day I was just smashing the kitchen board because I was exploding, because I couldn't, sometimes you simply cannot take it anymore to be in a cage like this. And on the other hand, this live stream, I thought, I do it because we have to have a discourse on eye level with people. I don't want to keep my mouth shut. And therefore it's still, it's about, I always say, I call it eye on air. It's my life, just like this. But we have so many years and so many stories, and it's not about quoting others. It's about talking. Sorry, this is my microphone. It's talking about, I'm still talking like this, Are you also still talking like this?
Yeah, Italiano, sì.
And I mean, to make a difference, how can we make a difference, Chris?
Yeah, I try to make a difference. When I retired, I still had that, that youthful exuberance, and I started making all these series and dealing with people. But I think the error I made is that I thought that my peers, or the next generation of peers, viewed the world in the same way I did, and they don't. And they don't. So what I thought was important and what I was building, all the things that I wished I had as an athlete, they're more interested in Instagram followers and likes on a thing. They're not about building a career or professionalism. They want more friends, or they want that's more important to them. And I don't understand it. So, it's hard. It's a strange world. It's a strange world. It's frustrating. I understand your frustration. I have this same mood. Sometimes I think, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done. I'm gonna pull out, hang with my family, be where I want to be in the world, and just.
Yeah. What about your dream of the farmhouse, the farm?
Yeah. I'm still looking at farms. Still constantly looking.
Because this is then the complete retreat from this life, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's
I don't.
I mean.
I don't fit.
Sorry.
I don't fit in this new world. I don't fit. It's not. It's so far. And I was questioning myself the other day, wondering if it's just a sign of age, like whether my father or his father, they always viewed the next generation as different, right? And I'm just going through that same process that they went through, right? Thinking, well, I don't understand my kids. I don't understand how you think that way, and I'm thinking the same way. But it's just, it's a strange world, and I feel sorry for them. That's to be honest. I feel sorry that we're heading this way. I cannot believe. I've always been someone that's looking forward all the time because I was an athlete, setting goals in the future. It scares me to look into the future now. I don't even know what it's going to look like. If it's scary. Like
the perspectives are very blurry. I mean, and to have a strategy how to continue is hard, because uncertainty becomes a daily companion, and much more than ever before, you feel it that all future is uncertain. I was always saying this sentence all the time, and now you really feel what it means. And what do you do to try to connect with these people, with these athletes you are, of course, dealing with, not every day, but how is your connection like this? How do you manage this one? Do you shout at them?
A lot more, but
do you shout at them, Chris?
No, I have a team. Well, I used to, but now I used to have issues, and I realized I had to put people around me that were closer to them that understood them better than I do in order to, I had to separate myself from what I wanted from them, or what I thought, because my fundamental drive was to do good for them, right? And in the end, I realized my view and my dream of what I perceived as being good for them would look like is not what they see good looking like. So I had to put people that understood them around me, and I let them deal with them a lot now. And I just think I'm still a disruptor, and I still try. I'm still a creator, and I like to step outside the box, and I still do. We created the arena games and all these things we do, and I get frustrated when I'm around them. So I'm not all of them, and I'm stereotyping a lot here. But I realize very much that we are very different creatures, and I don't really, with the utmost respect, outside of the fact that we swam, biked, and ran, I have nothing in common with them. Zero, nothing. We have nothing in common with them. I don't like the same things. I'm not interested in taking photos of myself all day and videoing, and I want to live, and I want to enjoy my life, and do challenging things and engaging things that challenge me, and I enjoy doing and pursue that, and find like-minded people to do that with, and that to me is the meaning of life, to constantly.
Motivation is about this, right? Not get stuck in routines, and this is making me routines. I think for the both of us are the worst ever. And What is your,
Yeah, and
when you think
this
out
COVID
of...
has forced it on us.
What? Again?
COVID has forced a routine, stuck in one spot, COVID, and having to just fall into this mundane, this mundane way of looking at things. Yeah, but it's been, I agree. Routines are tough.
And a big hug and thanks. I hope to see you soon, Schatzilein. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Will do, Doc.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Ciao.
I'm thinking, how am I going to find that? I came down this hill, I saw it.
Share our talk. I think this time it's really interesting. Give us your likes or dislikes, or give us our comments. And then, visit us on YouTube. We have a Peace Mich channel. We have Swarms of Life. We have a blog. And I hope, what else did he say to me? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think everybody knows what this is. So please be part of our community and make it happen that we spread out with this live stream. And I'm happy to see you again in around 1 week. Thanks for being present. Cheers. I on air. It's my life.